Okay. Whoa. I apologize, man. I was over here getting hype and I had some technical, not really technical difficulties. I was just having some problems with my microphones and all of that before the show. And I forgot to put my mic input into the streaming platform, but it's all good. We still here and we're back for some afterthoughts. And as I was preparing for the show, I was listening to some music, like I always do, and I was listening to wonderful Ja Rule and R. Kelly. And yes, I still listen to R. Kelly. We'll get to that a little bit later. And you just listening to what they're saying. If it wasn't for the money, cause, movie stars, and all this and whatever. It wasn't for the money, cause, and movie stars, and all this. And yeah, I got. Would you still love me? I would hate to live in a world where I have to question whether or not my material items, my provisions, the things that I have that I can show, maybe not even the things that I share, are what attract people to me and bring, because and it's not even just on some like romantic love stuff. It's just life in general. Is what if the people who are around you are only around you for the things that you have or the opportunities that you provide for them and not for who you are as a person? Imagine how chilling that feels when you have that realization, but you invested like true love. And again, I'm not talking about relationships. I'm just saying in general, it can, it, it's like, athletes when they come to the realization that their sport is a business. Now they love the sport itself, but the sport is just a business. You're just a cog in the machine. You're just scratching an itch. You get paid well for it, and you have to be highly talented to scratch that itch. Not many of those back scratchers. Rare, multi-million-dollar back scratchers. So it's not a slight. It's just a comparison. But yeah, nah, this wasn't even a topic or anything that was just even weighing on my mind. I was just listening to the song, and I'm like, "Dang, bro, I bet that feels terrible." Just walking around and having to question everybody's motives and intentions around you because of what it is that you have to offer. And for so many of us, we desire money, fame, notoriety, and there is a level of that I want. I'd say it's for reasons, not just for the sake of having them, and I'm sure everyone else says that too. So, not trying to make myself sound like I'm on some moral high ground because I'm not. But at the same time, I do believe in the importance and the value of investing in personal relationships. And that's why I don't want that life. You grow up thinking you want that, you want the glitz, the glam. And I guess I've lived a good enough life, a satisfying enough life to be like, well, what more does that get me? It seems like Diddy said, dang, more money, more problems. And it's true because my God, I never want to lead with money or be confined to a group of people with a certain amount of money as the group of people I can be around because it's like, hey, we all lead with money, so money no longer exists here. Like, can we like lead with looks again and then personality and then like alignment and life goals? Or if we're just friends, can it be, yo, we're cool? We got things in common. We want to help each other out. Even if it's like your work friend. Yo, don't be my man's over here because I got a little position or because I'm cool with the manager. Nah, man. Like I thought we was cool. Just purity in relationships. And don't get me wrong, we all want something from somebody in every relationship. I say that all the time. A relationship ain't worth having if it ain't self-serving, but it serves yourself to properly serve that relationship. So, but oh, I don't know, man. There's more to life than the tangible things people can do for you. There's value in the intangibles, the things that you can't feel, the things that you can't quantify that bring so much joy and satisfaction. But yeah, all that want to be rich, that's for the birds. I want financial freedom. I want financial flexibility. But I don't want the debt and the lifestyle that comes with all of that stuff. I mean, like, really, how much more drunk or high can you get? Like, how many more women like can you have sex with? And don't get me wrong, I'm not on some conservative values, uh, no sex outside of marriage and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about here. But yo, how many baddies do you pop until it's like, yo, I'm just tired of hitting baddies. I want like something more that like touches my soul. I want the baddie that snatches my soul, both mentally, physically, and emotionally, spiritually, Not the one who just snatches my soul, when I empty my what we call it a burlap sack, take all the stuff out of there. I don't know, man. But these are just my afterthoughts. Anyways, let's get going. So I had a crazy reality check yesterday. So I applied for a job on Friday. Interviews didn't go well at all. I didn't feel good coming out of it. But after I found a four-leaf clover, and I'm like, oh, this means something. I'm superstitious. I'm trying to get more in tune with the earth and so like maybe this means something. But I really, I just didn't feel like I was going to get the job. Then Monday, I get the confirmation that I don't get the job. I'm a little bummed out because that would have been nice, definitely the pay bump. So I sent my mom a text. I'm like, yo, I didn't get the job. She's like, oh man, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. Well, make sure you reach out to this person who you talked to before that, and then reach out to this other person who has this other. I'm like, dang, man, you already put me back to work. Oh yeah, hey, can you when you get off, can you come help me do this? I only need some help for about 30. I'm like, dang. Maybe I'm tired. Well, yeah, maybe I'm tired. Um, Maybe I want to sulk. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? As insensitive as I think that she was in that moment, and it's no shot at her, like at all. I'm like, oh, that's why I am who I am. That's why I do the things that I do. But also, who cares? Who cares how you feel that you didn't get the job? You didn't get the job. And if there's no recourse for you to get the job, what are we worried about? On to the next one. Go to the next opportunity. Pick up the next hustle. Hey, we got some work we need done, and you said you want to learn how to do this. So, come on, let's go do it. Cause like Lorilla said, every day the sun gonna shine. That's why I love tomorrow. But here's like, hey, tomorrow's still coming, and you got to prepare yourself for it. So what you gonna do? You gonna sit up there and be sad by yourself? Man, I ain't get that job. They ain't give me a fair shake. Man, why they keep having me? I get. Or you gonna hit up the person who said, "Hey, if that don't work out for you, hit me, talk to me," or hit up the person who said, "Hey, I got this hustle over here where you can make some money. Hey, you want to learn how to garden so you don't have to rely on stores and whatnot to feed yourself." So, what you gonna do? And I say all of that to say is no matter what happens to you in life, tomorrow's coming. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sulk and be in your feelings? Or are you gonna go out and do something about it? Don't get me wrong. You should process what you're going through. You should, do whatever analysis you need to do so that you learn from it or so it's not something that's weighing heavily on you. But at the end of the day, man, tomorrow's coming. At the end of the day is gonna come. Or at the end of the day is gonna end. So if a day ends, that means another one starts, and that means you have to show up for yourself and whoever else you're signed up to be available for and provide for in whatever way that may be. So I know we live in a world where it's like, hey, traumas, therapy, decompress. All of that stuff is good, but you don't have to do that after every event. You know what I mean? Every event doesn't have to just be processed in and out. I don't care what the therapists say right now, and I go to one. So like, I don't want people to think that I'm speaking from a place of you should just bury everything now because that will make you crazy. I've done it before multiple times in multiple situations, and it made me crazy. I went years of burying things and burying myself, and eventually it all comes out. So let's just get this party started. But yo, I love making a monotone joke. It's one of my favorite things to do. But anyways, uh, but if you just are focused on your mental health all the time, you're not focused on progress. Part of have of or excuse me, not your mental health, focusing on the event itself all the time is not focusing. It's not going to help you progress. So don't sulk. Learn from it and move on. It's not like we get to pause life and then process, decompress, do whatever we need to do. No, life still keeps moving and we have places to go. And how fast do you want to get there and at what cost? That becomes the balance of your mental health. How fast, at what cost? Oh man. All right, man. I had this thought, you know, and it's just like when you finally turn your back on someone, what else can they do to get your attention? I see it a lot, especially on social media, right? People poke at famous people. Shoot, some people poke at people that they know, but people are poking because they want attention. And when you don't get the attention that you want, sometimes the poke isn't enough. So then you push. But then, you know, the pushing, it doesn't work either because you ain't strong enough. You just keep pushing them, they're just standing there. And then finally, when you want to get their attention, you put on that Tim, that butter, and you pick it up and you put it in their back and you just kick the shit out of them. And anytime I see someone verbally in conversation, somebody on social media, shoot, even a writer or somebody, or a talking head just kicking somebody's back in, it's like, oh man, you want access to that person and you can't get the access that you want. So your last effort is to kick their back in. But here's the thing about the thief, right? The jack boy, the nigga who do the kick though. When you kick that dough in, yeah, you might get in temporarily. You might get something out of it, but you can't stay. So let's be honest. Why would you kick my dough in, damage my property, take some things out, devaluing my property more, but you know you can't stay. Yeah, you got your small token, your small victory, but you're still always gonna be looking over your back, worried. Because even if you're outside of the statute of limitations, even if you never get caught, even if you never sell that stuff off, you, you, you know what you got, you know what you did to get it, and you know what you really wanted to do. You know where you really wanted to go. You know where you really wanted to be. But instead of hustling, saving, investing, working, hustling, saving, investing, taking chances, making mistakes, getting messy legally, properly, within the confines and the requirements of what it is that you're looking for. You take the short route, you just try to kick in the back door to take a little something just to help yourself out. Yeah, if you can't go through the front door, if you can't knock on the door and walk in, then don't do it. So if somebody done gave you their back and turned their back on you, gave you their back to slap, kick, whatever. Don't kick their back in because it's not gonna get you what you want. You gotta go knock on that front door and then we can talk. Oh, man. You know, I probably should have tied this in earlier, but remember here in Afterthoughts where we come freely and we just kind of get our stuff off. We let the chat GPT tell us what to say because, you know, we're internet people. I'm joking, but I do utilize the sequence of topics. But, you know, talking to your parents and uh, I talked about my mom earlier and just how she was just like, okay, next. It's interesting with the generational gaps and the generational divides, you know, and also the different exposures, the different upbringing, the different just genetic makeup, how talking to your parents can become difficult. And it becomes difficult not because you don't like talking to them, not because you love them. And I'm not even speaking at a time where I'm having difficulty talking to either one of my parents. It's just a general observation from the ups and downs of being an adult who has a close relationship with his parents. And also talking to friends and just witnessing things. I'll say for millennials, we are so enlightened, so much more enlightened, a lot of us. We're not as tough. We're more sensitive. We're more in touch with our feelings, our human side. Uh, we don't respond to authorities in the same obedient ways that our parents' generations came from, you know, because they were taught to trust authority and do what they say because authority is looking out for the community at whole, at large. But, you know, we learned through history and that, hey, authority looks out for authority. So when authority is bucking or perceived to be bucking, you buck back. So oftentimes we find ourselves having disconnects and talking past our parents because, yeah, we're speaking a different language. We're using the same words, but we're speaking a different language. And it's so important that as we go through life and we go through different phases, we don't shut ourselves off. You know, obviously you take space when things aren't healthy, but you got to find that way to communicate what it is that you are going through and where you are and your boundaries and what you allow and what you don't allow. And and then also, hey dog, don't be afraid to hurt your parents' feelings. And don't let them tell you you're being disrespectful just because you push back. And don't tell them you're being disrespectful because don't let them tell you you're disrespectful because you get upset. You may raise your voice. Uh, You raise your voice to me. We're adults, right? You cut me off. Oh, I cut you off. And I'm not saying to do these things and you should do these things. No, but it happens in conversations. Hey, you want me to believe exactly what you want me to do exactly what you say do, but you won't do what I say do. What's the difference? Yes, I'm your child and I respect you, but you raised me to be a free thinking adult. So do you want me to be who you raised me to be, or do you want me to be the person that you want me to be in this moment? Is it a control thing? And again, to anybody who sees this, I'm not specifically talking about me and my mom. I'm talking about general things, various situations that people go through. So when talking to your parents, man, you just gotta find that common language, but then also remove yourself from it and think about them. And my daughter's only 3, so a little bit different because she's just not as old, and also I don't have the day-to-day experience with her. But just put yourself in their shoes and how you feel when your child pushes back on you. And take it out of an age thing and just think about the dynamic. Also on both ends, learn to like manage your expectations. Stop getting mad at somebody for being themselves and who they've always been, even if like it bothers you. That's who they are. It's not personal. Once it's no longer personal, it's now on us to figure out how to deal with it. And if it's like a parent who is most times unintentionally the things we don't like, it comes from a good place. It's just learning how to manage it. If you manage those expectations and don't ask your parent to be somebody they're not, but they also have to look at themselves and say, "Hey, this is who my kid is. This is who my adult kid is because this is who my kid was when he or she was a child. These are the things that he or she did that I didn't like. And oh, golly, it's playing out in adult form. Respect it, and accept each other." So that's the thing, right? I think too often in managing relationships, we try to put the same barriers and boundaries on them. Well, some relationships is you're chasing a feeling. Some relationships, you're chasing a person. Oftentimes with our family relationships, our long-standing relationships, the relationships that with people who we love but we outgrow or our interests aren't the same anymore. Those relationships, when you have the disagreements, you got to think about it from their point of view. Step in their shoes and don't expect anybody other than themselves. And then when you expect somebody to be themselves and then they become themselves, it may still bother you because you don't like the action, but it doesn't disappoint you because you expect it based upon previous behavior. A lot of us would be better in life, me included, if we stop expecting people to be who we want them to be and do what we want them to do and be who they are. I think about stuff politically all the time because I have my beliefs and I'm fairly conservative in a lot of my beliefs. But I'm liberal in the sense that my beliefs are my beliefs, and I think you're allowed to believe what you want and do pretty much whatever you want, so long as it doesn't infringe on what I got going on. You know, I think if more of us took that approach instead of trying to be right in our beliefs and set and be the culture setter all the time. No, man, create your own culture as it fits into the allowable culture and illegal allowable legal culture and then go from there and then you make your adjustments. But I don't know, man. What do we got next? Oh, media beef, that's impossible, me. I just see my algorithm because I've been studying the media for so long. My especially my YouTube algorithm is filled with a lot of different media members. And I see how they beef with each other. And, at first I'm like, yeah, you got to get back at them. Because don't get me wrong, if somebody says something about me on social media or even in real life, and I decide I want to address it on here, I will. Now, I don't name drop. I don't make it real pretty. I don't do all of that stuff so I can get the licks and the licks. Hey, the likes and clicks and all of that stuff. No, because I'm old school. I like how Jay-Z used to do it, man. He might just say some stuff in a bar, and if you hear it, you hear it. If you don't, you don't. It's not really about letting the world know what's going on. It's just about getting into your creative space and making the art that you want. But in the media, I see all of these beefs, and I'm just like, bro, this is impossible, mate. This is generated. It's like, oh, people are trying to build their own channels. What sells? Sex sells. What else sells? Controversy. Oh yeah, we like sex and war here in America. So if you can sell a battle, then people who are actually talented and making good jokes about each other or making valid points because they're smart individuals and they're dissecting this person, it's entertaining. I enjoy some of it. But at the same time, when you continue to see it over and over and over again, it's like, ain't their job to cover the athletes, not each other? Like, why is the mainstream media covering the media? Like, why is Doc Rivers and Sham Sharania going back and forth at each other via the media? If I'm a coach or a former, recently fired coach who has a problem with somebody in the media, especially if I'm Doc Rivers, I'm pulling up on him at a playoff game. And I'm gonna catch him in the back and I'm gonna be like, hey, bro, let's talk. Or I'm gonna catch him at a steakhouse or at a bar. Or me, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll probably say some shit. I'll probably kick his back in. But I'm a hypocrite. You are too, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Because see, I want him to talk about me a certain way. And he's not talking about me a certain way. So instead, I'm gonna kick his back in to try to devalue the source so I can frame the narrative. And we see this so often in media. Oh my God, framing the narrative. When I see a story, I go, I wonder who wants me to hear this. Why is this a story? Even true stuff, even when I don't question the story, I want to know why somebody wants me to know this. Why is this significant? And when you apply it to real life, it's when, somebody tells you something or you get some information, it's why do I know this? Why are you making me know this? Why do you want me to know this? Shaping the narrative, wanting a specific response, wanting a specific framing. And we should do this whenever we get information. Yes, you evaluate the information itself, but you also have to evaluate your sources, analyze your sources. Remember, when you're doing academic work, cite your sources. You can't just pull thoughts and ideas out of your head. Why? Because we need to test this against something, against a reference point that we can accept or a reference point that we can contextualize. So same thing, man. Talking to somebody, tell you anything, man. Oh man, LeBron James is the best player in the world. Why do you say that? Why do you want me to? Why would you put this out here? What are you trying to get accomplished with this? Because you saying it doesn't actually change what's going on, right? Like he's either the best player or he's not. you making a case for it doesn't change it because it's happened. Think about this like lawyer shit, right? A lawyer, the two lawyers are fighting the case. Something happened. Whatever happened, happened, and it's on them to make a case. Why did the lawyers make a case? Well, we want to ensure that the right person is held accountable and them so they get paid, you know. But for the public, it's to make sure the right person's held accountable. So when you look at it that way, it's like, hey, the truth happened. I don't know it, but any information I have is trying to get a message across. And what is that message across? Who is the messenger? Cite your sources. You know what I mean? Was this a good paper? Was this well researched, or was this just some last minute cram job? Is this supported by evidence? Is this supported by research? Or is this just a column? Because the column's just that, it's entertaining. There's some truth in there, but you're really there for the writer, the writing style. You're not necessarily there to learn something, to get the facts. So anytime you get a message, it's always, question the messenger. Tell them to cite their sources. And when you cite their sources, you often figure out what's trying to be pushed. And from there, then you can actually find the truth. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not loud today. Oh, this is just a fleeting thought. I've been listening to a lot of music lately, and you can tell the artist that Apple's pushing. My God, I was listening to some R&B this morning. Why is Lil Baby just keep getting thrown in rotation? I have not searched Lil Baby in forever. Occasionally I'll look up freestyle, but nothing about my music patterns, my music algorithm says that I want to hear a Lil Baby all the time because I don't. I listen to Future. I listen to Gucci. I listen to Thug. I listen to Dolph. You know what I mean? I don't really listen to Baby like that. And it's no shots at Baby. It's just like, man. Dirk too. I don't be listening to Dirk. Why is Dirk and King Von getting suggested to me? I've been listening to a lot of R&B, a lot of the rated R superstar, R. Kelly. Yeah, I listen to R. Kelly. You know why I listen to R. Kelly? Because he makes good music. Now he's in prison for being a freak. And it's unfortunate that he's lived this way. And it's really sad for the victims. And I'm not going to sit here and do the regular apology that people do when anytime they start talking about victims to show the world that they care about these people that they don't know and they don't truly care. Back to, people, the messenger, the message, and the framing. They just want you to view them a certain way when speaking about something. Where when I'm on camera in the privacy of my own home, I hardly care how you view me. I just care that you view me and hopefully you learn something. Or maybe you don't like something I say, you push back and we get into a back and forth and then we both learn. And then anybody else who reads it learns, right? That's what I'm into. But yeah, I listen to R. Kelly, the rated R superstar. Why? Because he's good at music and he's in prison being held accountable for his crimes. So at what point, like, I don't like this cancel stuff that we do. Why? Because at what point, like, are we supposed to take someone's life from them? Not like actually kill them, but just, hey, you're extremely talented at something, you're extremely popular for it, but because you have this, you do this really, really bad thing that you're going to prison for a very long time for, people can't enjoy the good things that you do. So now you're telling me I can't have nuance. Or I can only have nuance under the conditions that you say that I have nuance. Or we can only have nuance when the bad when it's not morally reprehensible. Well, when do we start doing that? Okay, so like when does that start? Like what's the earliest you could have been born to where we start judging you that way. Yeah, it's just like taking the statues down. It's just like changing the names of streets and schools. Should some of it happen? Probably. Should some of it be left as is? Yes. Should society have to deal with the repercussions of not changing things or changing things? Yes. Should an artist, a musician, any human being who's convicted of a crime have to pay their price? Absolutely. Should then they be allowed to pursue any other opportunities with their skill sets if somebody's willing to pay them for it? If you're willing to provide a service, if you have a service to provide and someone's willing to pay for your services, why shouldn't you be allowed to do it? And I promise you, this is not me defending a pedophile, cause fuck R. Kelly. I just like the music. I don't know the human being. I've never met him. I've never had a conversation with him. Don't desire to. I don't need to. Because see, when you make good music, I I come to you for good music. I don't come to you to be my role model. I don't come to you to build my moral compass off of. Like I don't know you. And I think we should be less like I understand holding these people accountable, but I think that we should be like just less invested in who they are. Like that's star worship. Why are we worshiping these people? Why do we care what they do so long as it doesn't affect us? You know? And I mean, care in the sense of how do I want to put this? Because I care that I care about victims, even victims that I don't know. Um, I don't want that shit to happen. I don't want bad shit to happen to people, especially bad sexual stuff, because sex is such a beautiful thing, and having positivity, consent, love, or whatever the hell else you wanted from sex taken away from you. It's one of the worst things that can happen to a human being. You know, I think sexual predators are worse than murderers, but I listen to both of their music. Oftentimes we glorify it, you know, and it has me thinking about Kanye now. He's apparently facing a ban in France. And Parlay Pete and I talked about it, got a little heated last week about the UK thing that happened. And Kanye, anybody, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Shout out to be him, but dog, for real, go where you're celebrated. Don't beg somebody to go make money with them. Don't go beg somebody to apologize to them. You apologize, you show the work. If they don't want to accept the apology, okay, that's on them, but you cleared your conscience. You did right. And maybe, just maybe, this thing that you want, this thing that you wanted to do, this thing that you think you needed to do, this opportunity that you couldn't turn down, maybe the best thing that's ever happened to you. You know, maybe because you walked out of this door and locked it, a new door opened up, and when you walked through that new door, you saw a new car. You know what I mean? A new house. You know what I mean? But like you saw something, you found something that you were never looking for, something that you would have never seen because you were in the wrong house. So Kanye, now you give the fans what you do your best to give your fans what they want if that's what you desire. But just don't bend over backwards to try to appease some people who are ultimately going to make money off of you. If they don't want to make money off of you, don't beg them to. And to kind of tie a bone this, man, y'all can't tell me who to cancel. I cancel culture. I've been saying that for years because it creates a one-track mind. Everybody's thinking the same, right? Like, why do I have to feel the same way about something that you do? My life experiences aren't yours, even when it's reprehensible. Dog, how many family members cover up terrible shit that they would not do for a loved one? How many partners cover up stuff for a loved one? How many of us look past things that our loved ones done or our friends done or people that we don't know have done or people that we've liked have done? Look at the things we look past. Why? Because, oh, that wasn't my experience. I know that person. Like Usher talking about Puff. Is what Usher said possibly dismissive? Yeah, maybe. Could it be said to be irresponsible? Yeah, maybe. But why the hell does Usher have to be responsible by societal standards all the time? You know? Why do I like if it's just my words, it's not me inciting anything, it's not me actually physically doing anything, what's the problem? We say freedom of speech. Yeah, that means you can't go to jail. Well, if you can't make money, you might as well be in jail. We're gonna take away your means to provide for yourself and your family. You might as well lock you up. So how free is your speech? Well, you can't say this on TikTok. You can't say this on YouTube. So the primary platforms where people go to have community and try to put their things out and make money, these are full length careers. You can't say certain things. You don't let the audience choose. You choose the audience, or you choose how you understand what I'm saying here? Yeah, this is all tied to cancel culture. It's all tied to sanitizing the English language. It's stripping words, which means we're stripping context, which means we make complex things. We try to turn them into simple things, and we it's control. If I just can't get on here and be monetized and say certain words based upon my audience, or if I can get deplatformed on something I said, is my speech really free? And I'm not saying the platforms have to provide free speech. No, they don't, because that's not what the law of the land requires. And some would say they should, some would say they shouldn't. If but at the same time, if somebody said the wrong thing on my platform, they can't come back. I would end the show. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, it's hypocrisy laced in all of this stuff. But I'm just gonna tell you I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, yeah, I get on here and I try to shape narratives. Yeah, I try to inform. I want people to think a certain way, or maybe not a certain way, but I want them to evaluate a certain level set of facts, a certain mindset. You know, I'm not gonna create the narrative and try to create a narrative and run from it. Now I'm trying to create a narrative because I want to stand on it. Pause. Let me see if there's anything else important I want to talk to. Hey, that Trump Jesus shit was wild. And just know this, he's just saying he can do whatever he want. It's messaging. Some people see him as a messiah, a savior. I see where they were going with that. Now, Vice President Vance saying it was a joke, and then the president saying that he was a doctor. Uh, Come on, man. We've watched House of Cards. All of us have. Again, another distraction. So let's not get so caught up in the bullshit. Like I wouldn't have seen that the president framed himself as Jesus if somebody hadn't have told me, because I don't look for what he says, not because I'm not a supporter. It's because I don't care. I don't care what the fucking president tweets. Now I do care that my president was at UFC this weekend while we're in negotiations with Iran. I think that's problematic. I think you should be focused on the job. But I would say that about any president. Um. Oh yeah. Here. Okay, I got a couple things. I saw something about the kink industry rising in kids. Yeah, why are kids being exposed to kinks? When I was a kid, I wasn't thinking about kinks. I was thinking about kites and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go outside and play. I'm trying to hoop. I'm trying to play football, baseball, kickball, wall ball, volleyball, soccer. It don't matter. I'm trying to get active, but not like these kids. It's too much too soon. You know, I didn't wait to marriage to have sex, but I understand it. Like you just open up your mind to so many more things that yes are pleasurable. Oh God, yes, pleasurable, but do you need them? You know, there's a beauty in simplicity. Because when you know more, you want more, you need more. But kids being exposed to kink is weird because some adults aren't even into kink. Like, what happened to intimacy? Like, yeah, the kink stuff is cool. Oh my God, it's great, especially when you're with an intimate partner and it's like kink in love. Like, oh golly, it's amazing. But like exotic sex for children is the sex for children is crazy, but exotic sex, like let them ease into the wilder world of sex. Like let them go on their own journey. Let's not just poison these kids with sex, sex, sex. And hell, we see they ain't fucking. What the drinking numbers and sex numbers is down because the kids don't talk. Speaking of talking, Gucci Man talk. He made that song "Crash Dummy." Said what happened. Pooh Shicey's lawyer alleged that he gave a statement, and good. He's an executive. He's living like a law-abiding citizen, a taxpayer, and people who want to point at somebody who is using the legal system in order to right their wrongs instead of going to the streets. They're idiots and they're stupid, and they're probably paid for by people who don't want to see black people do better. And if you see those people, you listen, and those people are talking that nonsense, talking bad about Gucci Man, blaming Gucci Man, they're stupid and they don't, or they're actively out here trying to sabotage you. So if somebody's stupid or actively trying to sabotage you, why would you listen to them? And I may go into this with Parlay Pete tomorrow, but the Mike Vrabel Diana Rossini situation is an interesting one, right? You know, they're both married, so that's a problem. She's a reporter, he's the coach, that's a problem. Reporter source. But what do you expect? And I promise you, this is not an anti-Diana Rossini thing. This is not an anti-woman thing. You have attractive men, attractive women around each other on a regular basis, and they're often around each other away from home. They're often going to dinners. They're often going out to parties. They're often drinking. They're doing all types of shit away from home in a community of people where letting things outside of this community is problematic for you if you want to remain in this community. So, yes, reporters fuck coaches, they fuck players, executives, probably even owners. Yes, that happens. Is it ethical? No. Does it mean all the work is totally tainted? Not necessarily. But as a society, I think we need to take a different look at this. And not to say that we accept it in all cases on all ends, but it happens so often. If you just understand the law of attraction, these things happen. I'm not saying they're okay, and I'm not saying that people can't have self-control. But as a society, boy, me with my lisp trying to say society, especially fast, is nasty work. But if we as a society, yeah, we gotta be real with ourselves, yo. People like to have sex. People are attracted to each other. Alcohol lowers inhibitions. Comfortability with somebody over a span of time makes it easier. Oh, yeah, and privacy there amongst the people who are around who can see. Oh, man. Oh, and they probably have done it and are doing it too. So you got leverage. Y'all got leverage. I'm not saying it's okay, but it don't really matter. It happened. Yeah, you can be in your feelings. Your feelings are valid to you. But the truth of what actually happened is what played out. So society, let's stop playing to our feelings. Let's understand our feelings, process our feelings, and more so play to our actions, play to reality. Let's not play your truth. Let's play to the truth and do our best to find it.